going around the table. Let's say you go on a date with a guy and he asks you out and he says, you go get dinner and the check comes, or he tells the waiter, oh, let's split. He wants to split the bill. Will there be a second date? Would you prefer if he paid for it?
If I really liked him, I wouldn't mind who paid.
But would you prefer the guy to pay?
I mean, if he could, yeah. But if he
So you wouldn't ditch the date if he only had a penny in his bank account?
What about you?
I said earlier today that, paying for a first date or flowers for me isn't a huge deal. It would be something that it would possibly raise something in my head to consider, and I would think about it, but it wouldn't be like the end all.
Okay. But you would like it, right? You've been on dates though, right? Of the dates you've been on, do you know how many first dates you've been on? 10, 20 maybe?
Like where someone has properly asked me on a date.
Like you went out to go get food with a guy.
Okay.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50?
10.
10-ish. Okay. Has the guy, more often than not, has the guy paid for the date?
Yeah, if he asked me on the date,
sure.
Yes.
What about you? More often than not, Kayla? More often than not, has the guy paid for the date?
Way more often.
Have you ever paid for a first date?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
If
What
I
about you?
initiated.
Have I ever paid for a first date?
Yeah. And then
No. But
what do you want? Do you prefer the guy to pay for the first date?
prefer, yes. But
Would there be a second date if he doesn't?
If the situation that you said, if they were like, and the bill came and they're like, oh, let's split it.
Mm-hmm.
If they were in guy or girl, I mean, this because, again, bisexuality, that on any date, if someone, even if it's not romantic, honestly, if a friend invites me out to, if they get invited out and they're saying, oh, then I kind of do have a slight expectation.
Burns donated
Burns,
$200.
thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Women only want equal rights when it benefits them, the draft or physical standards in such things like the military.
Well, there's definitely a saying, and it goes, feminist until the check comes. But so, short, quick answer, you prefer the...
Prefer, yes, but I wouldn't say no to a second date, no.
What about you?
I think whoever did the asking should pay.
Have you ever asked a guy out?
Yes.
On a date? Okay, that's fair. You do realize, though, just in response to that, most men very rarely, almost never, will get asked out by a woman.
I know.
Right. So I mean, but
sad. That's
but
really
to say
sad,
whoever should pay, it's basically your answer is essentially men should pay.
But my answer, I said that, but saying that I have asked a guy out on a date.
Sure.
So.
But we should also acknowledge that while you're perhaps an outlier, it really is very rare.
Donated $100. Theme of the night: if I like him enough, he can do whatever he wants to me. Your fathers must be missing from your lives.
Yo, Nickelodeon, dude, I haven't seen you in a while, man. Hey, welcome back. Thank you for the patronage, man. Appreciate it. Theme of the night. Well put, sir. Okay. And you?
I prefer him to pay on the first date.
And you said if he doesn't pay for the first date, there won't be a second date.
Yeah, if a guy asks you on a date, I think he should pay.
Okay. What about you?
I would prefer it, but I don't mind splitting.
Okay.
I will split, and it's not gonna change my opinion about.
Okay.
I will date him for the second.
Sure.
time too.
So we've heard some women say, well, what's up?
About the equal play thing, I just want to put in a fun point. I don't know if you saw that comment earlier about the men. Some guy posted about equal pay, that they were the reverse, that they want equal pay for OnlyFans, and which is really interesting as a point that I never really thought about. If we want equal
Male
pay,
models.
well then that's equal
Male
for them
models,
to come
yeah.
up too, not just women to rise. But
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I thought about that interesting. Just wanted to share that out there.
Yeah, I think there should be more representation.
advocate,
Okay.
you know?
Anyways, well, the point I'm trying to get at here is, some of you said, well, you'd maybe be okay with it if the guy split the bill. Maybe you wouldn't even mind. But you did hear some of the girls' answers who said they either strongly prefer the guy to pay or there wouldn't be a second date. Now, let's assume in the general population that 30% of women if the guy doesn't pay, there won't be a second date. 30% of women, right? Let's assume that's the number. Perhaps it's more, perhaps it's less. That's still a very large portion of women, right? Now, I think there's a whole lot of factors that impact this supposed wage gap, earnings gap, whatever you want to call it. a lot of factors, hours worked, the professions that are pursued by various individuals, the willingness to take hazardous and dirty jobs. The more men, for example, are more willing to relocate for a job. Men are more likely to work nights. Men are more likely to work overtime. But let's remove all of that. Let's just look at what I like to call a mating pressure. Now, I think finding love, finding a partner is one of the most important things that a lot of us will do in our lifetime. If there is a mating pressure from 30% of the population that demands that the men be providers in the relationship and demands that men pay for first dates, wouldn't that, even on its own, remove all these other variables I listed, the mating pressure that women place on men to be providers, to pay for dates? She said she wouldn't go on a second date with the guy if he didn't pay. Wouldn't that, in and of itself, explain why men make more money? Because you, as women, put pressure on men to make more money.
I would honestly
Is that a checkmate? I don't know.
I'd agree with that.
And also, we don't care about how much money you guys make. So there's no mating pressure for you guys. Whereas for us, it's an immense pressure.
But there is a whole pressure. If we slept with too many people, then.
Yeah. But we're talking about pay gap, though, yeah.
We're talking about pay gap, but what about spending gap?
Yeah.
Oh. Women drive 70 to 80% of all consumer purchasing through buying power and influence. Isn't it also the case that women take far more out of like taxes and social service than men do? I don't know. But I mean, if the expectation on men is to pay for first dates, and we need to impress you by being able to pay for first dates and provide for you, and let's say there's 30% of women that want to be stay-at-home wives, that don't want to work and want men to be the primary and sole breadwinner, wouldn't that sole variable, again, remove all the others I've mentioned, that sole variable just completely explain away the wage gap? Would it be fair to say that men are more motivated to make money than women are because of the mating pressure that women put on men?
I would say it's a factor.
I would say it's a major,
What about
major factor.
What about the fact that like our primary reason to be on this earth is to reproduce?
Oh yeah,
every
that's
single
biological.
fiber of our being wants to reproduce.
I also have another one that just occurred to me. So you mentioned men occupy higher positions of power that also happen to be really well paid, right? So do you think women are attracted to high status men, like famous musicians, professional athletes, actors, or men who are at the top of their, like if they're at the top of their profession, like women find high status attractive. They find men who have prestigious jobs attractive.
Yes, but that also is because it comes with ambition. If a man is up there in a rank, he's doing so well. It's because he's ambitious, because he's talented, he's driven. It comes with all these good qualities that embody getting to that high top power.
Sure. So I have a question. Okay, so do you guys know Drake?
Yes.
Just his looks, remove his status, remove his fame, remove his wealth, looks-wise, would you agree he's like an average-looking guy? He's not remarkably physically attractive.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, question: if you put Drake in a nightclub or a bar, and there's 100 women who are trying to pursue a guy, and then there's a really good-looking guy, but he has no status, he has no money, and you put Drake in a bar, nightclub, whatever, do you think women are going to be pining over that really attractive guy? Or they might, but do you think if they could pick, do you think they'd rather get with the really high, with Drake? I'm trying to think, maybe there's a better example than Drake here, but
Forza Horizon 5 donated $100. A woman working a 9-to-5 job is definitely unattractive.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about that, but so what do you guys think? Who are the women going to gravitate towards?
I think the cute guy with no money, no job.
You think so?
Or whatever, is just not marriage material, which is not my type.
That's okay. That's fair.